We're back on another chilly winter day to talk about the one exercise you should be doing, but we all know you're not doing. The assault bike. Not the plate that I'm zoomed in on, but the assault bike. Odds are, whatever gym you are most likely working out at has a version of the assault bike or an Airdyne, an air resistance fan bike. What you probably don't know, okay, is that the creator of this bike is actually sentenced to death. And he deserved it. Or she. We don't know. They won't tell us. Whoever came up with this torturous machine deserves not only the greatest accolades of all time, but to die an extremely painful, torturous death, which is the experience that you will have every time you hop on this wonderful, torturous, waterboarding-like machine. So why do it? If it hurts so bad or hurts so good, what's the point? Why get on the assault bike? Why not do something else? Well, what's wonderful about the assault bike, it's a very low impact on your body, as in low impact on your joints, your knees, things like that. Okay, you're not really having to worry about risk of injury. All right, so it's super high reward, very low risk. I know, Mecco. 1 second. All right, super high reward, very low risk. Meaning that when you're on it, the results you're getting are astronomical, but the risk to your body or the risk of injury are super low. So anyone can hop on there, get after it, get a great workout in, and not have to worry about injuring yourself, which is a huge plus. That being said, the one downside is that when you're on it, it really, really fucking sucks. Okay, Marston. Okay. Sounds a little interesting. I'm a little scared because you're making it sound terrible, but okay. Assault bike. I'm curious. Consider me intrigued. Where do I start? The crux of the issue is a lot of the time in life, myself included, we get into states of comfortability, comfort zone, where we're kind of just going through the motions. You're not really seeing the results that you want because you're really not pushing. The assault bike says, fuck that. You're dead to me. And just completely shoves you off the cliff of your comfort zone into a distant and endless ocean of discomfort. All right. I know it sounds unpleasant, but if you're looking for that spark, if you're looking for that lightning strike to your fitness regime, the assault bike is something that I highly recommend you add. All right. Even if it's just once a week. Okay. Something I like to do once a week on the assault bike is what I call the Bulgarian, or what is called the Bulgarian 4x4. And that's where I maintain about 65, 70% effort for 4 minutes. And then I take 4 minutes of rest, and I do that 4 times. So once a week, 60 to 70% effort, depending on how I'm feeling. If I'm feeling really good, I can do 70% effort. So if I'm on the assault bike, I like to look at the RPM number, and I maintain usually anywhere from 65 to 70 RPM for 4 minutes. And then I take 4 minutes of rest, and I just do that 4 times. Doesn't take long. It's not too sucky, but it's a great endurance workout. And I don't feel like I am going to throw up after. So that's a great workout. Now, as soon as you start to go into the high intensity interval sprints portion of the assault bike, that's when things get a little crazier. Let's break it down. We're on the assault bike. We're sprinting. What's going on? Normally with an endurance exercise or endurance workout such as running or swimming, it's an aerobic activity. So our muscles are using oxygen for fuel. On something like the assault bike, where our muscles are literally spinning a fan, and the faster the fan spins, the more air resistance we're generating, and therefore the more pressure on our muscles and the more energy we're exerting. We actually get to this point where we are no longer able to use oxygen as fuel, or our body isn't able to take in enough oxygen to support our muscles for fuel, making it feel like we're literally suffocating because our bodies are burning more oxygen than we're taking in, aka the mock suffocation. We then go into anaerobic activity, which means that our muscles are now going to start burning glucose for fuel. And then as our muscles are burning glucose for fuel, we now start to produce lactic acid. As we start to produce lactic acid and increase the acidity in our blood, we get a very unpleasant, toxic, burning, poison-inducing feeling in our legs, that makes it feel like our legs and our thighs and quads are literally about to spontaneously combust. Yes, it is unpleasant. And yes, the moment you get off the assault bike, it's almost like you're running in front of a train. And the whole time you're just trying to pedal, stay in front of this train. And then the funny thing is, when you get off, the train keeps going and then slams into you, causing you to writhe on the floor in excruciating agony until the moment you can finally breathe again. And then unfortunately, in that moment, it is time to get back on the assault bike and run in front of the train. It's like you're sprinting with a rubber band and somebody's holding the rubber band. And then as soon as you stop fucking sprinting, they let go and it smacks you right in the back. That's the assault bike, pretty much. But it's the difference between aerobic and anaerobic activity. And it's our body's ability to filter out the lactic acid that we're building up. That's pretty much what we're training, plus endurance and muscular endurance. But what ends up happening is, if you imagine yourself like a cup of water, okay, as you're pedaling, as you're sprinting on this assault bike, the cup slowly begins to fill. That's the lactic acid. Once the lactic acid gets to the brim, eventually it's going to spill over. And when that happens, and yes, this is sucky, you're probably going to throw up. Okay, feeling nauseous after sprinting on this bike is completely normal. Throwing up, also, unfortunately, normal. All right. It's a scary little term, I believe, is lactic acidosis. Yes, it's not something you want all the time, but it's just what ends up happening because the assault bike is really easy to push yourself on, and unfortunately really easy to build up the lactic acid. Eventually, that lactic acid has nowhere else to go, so our body throws up to get rid of it. As we get better on the assault bike, we get a bigger cup. As we get a bigger cup, we can handle more lactic acid. When we handle more lactic acid, we can do more before we throw up, so on and so forth. I know it doesn't sound that great, but how I feel afterwards and my level of fitness after incorporating the assault bike for such a long time, it goes up dramatically the more I do it. So yes, it sucks. And yes, it is one of the only exercises that when I am thinking about doing a workout that revolves around the assault bike, I genuinely get nervous and anxious because I know how terrible it's going to feel when you push yourself on it. But that's also one of the reasons why I think it's important that we do it, because when we do hard things, our body changes. If we're not pushing, we're not changing. And if nothing's changing, then nothing's changing. I know that sounds redundant, but that in itself has been one of the biggest kind of quotes that has helped me recently. Nothing changes if nothing changes. And I know that the assault bike is difficult enough and easy enough for me to do and get on that it will stimulate change solely off of how sucky it is. And also how good for you it is with a very low minimal risk. So that being said, today we are going to do a little assault bike workout. I am going to be doing sets of 20 seconds, max effort, just seeing how many calories I can get in 20 seconds. I'll probably do it 5 rounds, rest 3 to 4 minutes between each round, and we'll see how it goes. But that's the assault bike for you. The one piece of equipment that you're probably not incorporating, unless you are, that you should be incorporating. All right, so let's do this workout and we'll see how it goes. We're just going to go over a couple things. Here's your assault bike. I like to position the seat so that at the bottom, when my foot's at the bottom here, the pedals all the way down, there's still a slight bend in my knee. I also am only going to be putting the balls of my feet on the pedal. I find I get a greater range of motion, almost a greater force production from my leg if my toes or the balls of my feet are on the pedal rather than midfoot to heel. I feel like I'm missing out on a lot of drive from my calf that way. So always put my toes, balls of my feet on the pedal. Okay, same here. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm positioning myself so that at full extension with my arm, I can fully extend my arm is how I'm positioning myself. You don't want to get to a point where you're not getting full range of motion in your arms. Okay, so I'm positioned so that my arms can fully extend. And then what I like to do, I'm going to stop pedaling as I talk so you can hear me But what I like to do is I like to hunch forward a little bit so that I can almost drive through my shoulders, almost like I'm going from a chest, almost like a bench press to a shoulder press. All right. And then last kind of piece of advice here is I see a lot of people on the assault bikes and their elbows flare out. Okay. Let's not do that. All right. You're losing a lot of force if your elbows are flaring out, because when in life are you actually pushing with your elbow all the way out to the side? You want to keep your elbows in nice and close so that we can drive through, just like we're doing a push up or a strict press. You want to be able to drive forward. All right. And also, I see a lot of people throwing their head side to side. It's just a waste of fucking energy. All right. Keep yourself still. All right. Everything in one solid plane of motion. Okay. So I'm here. And then as I lean in, woo, bop. Well, that's set one. 20 seconds. I could tell my max output really started to tank a bit at 15 seconds. To put it in perspective, if you're looking at watts, max wattage was 1600. So 1,600 watts. Hey, and then if you're looking at RPM, I believe my max RPM was 120. Ended up getting 24 calories, I think, by the end. 23, 24. So a little over a calorie a second. It's pretty good. I've also done this a lot. For some reason, I think maybe it's just my body type. I tend to do pretty well with assault bike workouts, but it still fucking sucks. So set one's done. Give myself about 3 or 4 minutes. We'll do it again 4 more times. I lied on the first one. I have no idea why I thought I was at 120 RPM. I was at 1600 watts, but that ends up only being like 110, 111 RPM. So not 120, at least not for that second set. But I only ended up getting 21 calories that time. So we'll see about this next one. I think I can go a little faster, but just wanted you to know. I don't think I was at 120 RPM. We shall see. All right. Let's see what we can do this time. Set 3. Okay. Ew. Okay. That one was I got 116 RPM, but I could only hold it for like 11 seconds. So tanked pretty quick after that, but whew, that one we got to 116 RPM. Okay. Oh fuck me. Last one. Oh God. The she-devil strikes again. And just like that,
We're done. It's fine. It's fine. It's easy. The one exercise that you're most likely not doing, that you should be doing, is any high intensity interval workout on the good old assault bike or Rogue Echo bike, any sort of air bike, but I'd say the assault bike's the OG. Well, hope you guys enjoyed this video. I appreciate you taking the time to watch me suffer today. I appreciate the patience with my new content. I'm making a commitment to you that we're going to try to improve with every video. And hopefully I'll see you guys around. I'm just gonna be here for a minute. You guys have a great rest of your day. Good night.